Oh, Jesus. What a freaking 24 hours we just had here this weekend. We're going to get into this some more. I got a couple things that I want to cover today. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Trey's Trades, where we freaking talk fast and don't skip class, baby. I like to press by saying that I'm not a financial advisor nor expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Let's get into the video. So today, my friends, my family, my fellow Gorilla Gang, as you can see here, bam, 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 wham, chicken, damn. I want to talk about AMC Stock, and I kind of want to talk about what happened last night with that interview, because that was some freaking goofy stuff. So, before we get into this, I want to go over kind of the technicals, the ortex data, the short volume percentage, the Stonko tracker, which shows you the calls that are currently in the money. I also want to talk about what happened last night because my computer became unusable. Now, I'm not the kind of guy for a tinfoil hat in terms of not being able to prove things by speculation. I like to be able to prove them through fact. But what I will tell you is this. I spent the last 6 months, in a hotel room, essentially, using Wi-Fi as my priority means of getting stuff done. Now, there is the potential that, by the way, my computer it was unusable. I had to buy a new computer. I got that taken care of. I've got a new computer. It's all cooked up and ready to go, right? But my computer after last night was unusable. Now, there's a couple of explanations that could say as to why that happened, and I'm going to use those first before putting on this tinfoil hat. But in the transportation of my computer to this hotel, which I'm at right now, as you can see, I could have just bumped it. It could have been like a transportation malfunction. Maybe something got jostled loose. Maybe the coolant fan, maybe the fan stopped working. I mean, there's a couple of different ways that could have ended up playing out. And it just didn't happen until, that exact moment when BAM came on or whatever, right? But there's also the potential that there was some sort of cybersecurity threat. And by the way, I have a VPN that is on my computer at this exact moment in time. So that is not going to be something that I'm concerned about. I'm actually going to be, upping that game up more than it already is. But this is something that I saw circulating around. This was put up about 10 minutes after the interview with BAM. And it's a cyber threat map of the entire world. Now, I am currently living, somewhere in Oklahoma. I'm not going to go beyond that. And BAM was located in San Francisco. And this is something that is profound to me. Maybe this is just some stupid coincidence. I don't know. Like I said, you guys make do with this what you want. But the circle right here is literally right where I live. And San Francisco, as you can see, was also lit up on the cyber threat map right here. So I don't know what ended up happening, but I'll tell you this. Both scenarios, right? Best case scenario, worst case scenario. If my computer just had some malfunctions, there's nothing wrong. I just had to get a new computer. It was due either way, right? It is what it is. But I will say, I'll tell you this. There's a gaming computer. These things are built for streaming. They're built to do exactly what they do, and I had a wired connection during that interview. So I see no reason in the least bit that it should have happened, but maybe it is. Maybe I bumped it and I did something goofy in the transportation to the hotel that I'm at right now. Second case scenario, if this was legit and people were throwing out the term DDoS, some sort of cyber threat attack, my computer was essentially just melted, right? That tells me they were getting close, man. I'll tell you that right now. In fact, that's not discouraging in the least bit. I was a little bit razzled last night. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to get into the details, but if that is the truth and that's where we're sitting, that's how I know we're really getting freaking dangerously close to the end game here with AMC. So that's kind of what happened last night. I'm absolutely fine. You guys don't have to worry about that. But with that being said, let's just get into what really is important here, which is AMC stock. Now, I see that there's this sort of shift happening. Like it's inevitable when you're playing with money. There's emotions on the line. This is a highly emotional stock. It's got swings in violent directions, up and down in both directions. But this rift that's beginning, I said this in my previous video, is not coming from the ape community. It's coming from the outsiders in the ape community who are sifting in, trying to appear as apes and trying to sway opinions, right? We know this. We know that there are trustable people in the AMC community who have been covering this stock since the very beginning, back before it was even freaking cool. I'll tell you what, it took months for people to finally wake up to this. 6 months, almost 6 months, for people to realize the true potential of what AMC stock can do. And you know the people that you can trust. I'm not going to name names, but you go out there and trust the people who have proven themselves to you to be a reliable source of information. And first and foremost, you got to trust yourself, right? Everything that I say, everything that anybody on the internet says, fact check it all, always. You have to. You gotta do that. especially in a scenario like this where you're playing with a stock that is so emotionally driven, so far corrupted and manipulated, right? We've uncovered the freaking Pandora's box of craziness. So anyways, let's get into the ortex data. This is something that I was asked about in the live stream that I did on Friday. The short interest went down significantly, right? 21.73%. And something that is worth mentioning is this T+2 idea, which is that if shares are returned, it takes about 2 days for those to actually be registered by Ortex. This is coming from 85% of the exchange data. And it does not report naked shorts. It does not report failure to delivers, i.e. the synthetic shares that are circulating on the stock market. Now, I've also seen circulating around the Ihor Dusanowski, I think that's his last name, data, the short interest data, and he had an entirely different number. He had the 1% number, right? Only about 1% of shorts had actually been covered or returned. Now, if that's the case, give me just 1 sec here. I gotta clear my throat. What the heck is going on? Anywho, if that is the case, right, the short interest, and it could go either way, right? I'm going to err on the side of more realism and assume that, the shorts genuinely have not covered yet, and what you saw was a massive, massive amount of gamma, because I do believe that. I really do. You can't take into consideration the naked shorts and the failure to delivers, and there's a lot of, data points that are saying, hey, this still has some room on the table to run. So my thought process on this is, if this is 85% of the exchange data, if this is not taking into consideration the naked shorts, and if they're finding some roundabout way, i.e. calls or puts, to get extreme leverage on the downside or upside against AMC stock, you can't quantify that, right? So let's just look at the options chain, for example, and just look at what we got cooking up for 11 June. Now, if you look at the call side of things, they're already pretty decently filled up, and it goes all the way up to, I think, $145. You can see there's already 15,000 call options on $145. Now, think about this. There are not enough shares circulating around for all of the call options that are currently existing in this moment in time. You look at the puts, you can see the same thing. There's heavy put activity on this side as well. In fact, this is honestly freaking crazy how high the puts get. So just keep scrolling through this, right? There's a crap ton of puts. In fact, there's some people who have puts on the downside as low as $1, 50 cents, $2, $3, $4. There are people out there who genuinely think this is going to go down that low, and maybe they bought these on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, whenever it is. But if they make any sort of money on this, you can think of this essentially as leverage for the downside, which is going to try and push AMC stock down, right? So keep that in the back of your mind. We're not looking at a freaking one facet pony. This is something that has a network, a plethora of freaking dark web stuff that is circulating around the stock, right? So I 100% believe that the squeeze is still on the table, right? This is not the squeeze, simple as it gets. And you look at the daily short sale volume percentage, and it's still, relatively high. 38%, you have 47%, 40%, 43%. And what's fascinating to me is that I've seen this picture circulating around talking about an increase in dark pool activity. And I'm not talking about the volume going up, because when the volume goes up, obviously the dark pool data is going to go up as well, because some of these orders that get filled through Robinhood, different brokerage firms, right, they go through that dark pool to get the orders filled, and some of that is honestly coming from apes. But I'm talking about a significant real spike that came up on Friday, and that is some fascinating information, and it's a way that we can't really quantify what's going on the backside of things, right? You guys have all seen the clip circulating around. Praise be to freaking Melissa Lee for slipping that out on CNBC about the naked shorts that are circulating around on the stock. It's a well-known fact. This is not new news to us. This is news that we've known for 6 months. If you've been cooking with Crisco and rocking AMC stock since literally January, we've known this sort of stuff is happening, and it just got freaking revealed on the news. Simple as it gets, right? Stocko Tracker, you currently have 114,000 total call options expiring in the money. You'll have 23,000 more at $50, and about 1.7 million total shares available to borrow. Now, keep in mind, this is an overall trend. It does not paint the whole picture. You do not know every single share that's out there on the downside trying to bet against AMC stock. It's not all quantifiable, and we don't need to know the quantifiability. And which brings me into AMC stock, because I've had this question asked a bunch. How do we know if these unquantifiable shorts are being covered? Simple as it gets. You'll see it in the price action. That's as simple as it gets. you will see this have the stupidest, filthiest, most disgusting, gnarly, freaking stupid move that it has ever had. And that's as simple as it gets. I don't think this was it. True, we had a nasty, nasty run up, but this had lights out sort of freaking momentum. And what happened is the media pushed this and spun a narrative in the most negative way possible to try and bring the stock down. And now it has some sort of trend. We can sort of predict what's happening here with the actual trend. I'm not going to talk about the 15 MA. I don't want to talk about the 200 EMA. I'm not going to talk about the volume weighted average price. I want to talk about the volume, this bull flag setup, and the two ways that this can kind of swing based just purely on the way that this has worked in the past. So I've talked about this many, many times. I'm going to talk about it again. It's the 4 test trend rule, right? Now, most times when AMC stock, this is actually how we predicted that $14 is going to be a very significant breakout level. Most times that AMC stock tests a level 4 times, it gets that break on the 4th time, right? And you can see here that it is acting right now on this descending level of resistance. You've got 1, 2, 3 times that it has tested this descending level of resistance in this bull flag setup, right? So just based on previous trends alone, based on the fact that we've seen this happen 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the last 6 months, I am pretty inclined to believe that you're going to have a break for the upside on this descending level of resistance. Now, there's also an unquantifiable factor right here, which is the hype and momentum, which is built here over the weekend. And what do I mean by that is the naked short slip up. That is huge. That's a huge, huge, huge unquantifiable piece that literally slipped out on national news. Millions of people saw that, guys. Millions of people who have never even looked at AMC stock before are going to be talking about that. It's crazy. And I've had this question asked. How come Matt and how come Trey, when they go on national news, don't talk about naked shorts? That is a lawsuit waiting to happen unless I can personally show you picture perfect who's doing that, right? I have to cover my butt, same as Matt Coors does, right? We skip and dance around the fact, right? The failure to delivers. We've talked about the unusual call options and put options that are getting put into this. The fact that 11% of the total calls it puts in the entire market were put into AMC stock, right? We talk about the freaking malpractice. We talk about the FINRA reports. We talk about all that stuff. Dancing around exactly what was just said. So now that the freaking cat's out of the bag, the liability's off the table, I'm telling you guys, the hype, the momentum for AMC stock is stupid. This has some real lights out, sort of freaking never before seen, probably never seen again opportunity. I'm not calling this quits. This is not the end. The storybook is still being written. There's so much more to come. My friends, my family, my fellow Gorilla Gang, my apes out there, I'm telling you, patience. Housekeeping was knocking on the door. My apologies, but so this is scenario 1, right? Scenario 1 to me is you get a break for the upside. You get the 4th test and break clean over this descending level of resistance, which if you hit it in the pre-market would be about $50. If you're hitting in the regular market hours, it'd be about $47, $48, right? And that should bring us into the next momentum move, which should be followed through with volume. You want to see volume follow through on any sort of move because that shows you that big money, or at least a lot of money, is following through on a technical clean breakout. The downside, right? What happens if this does not get, that clean break? We got to be ready for both scenarios. The worst case scenario is that you get a break for the downside underneath this ascending level of support, and you've got a level of support down here, right, with quite a few different touch points. And I know this is scary. I know this is probably going to scare some people. $31, right? That's where the next level of support is, just based purely on lateral levels of support, horizontal levels of support, right? You've also got an ascending level of support rocking right here, which kind of diverges really well with this other ascending level, which would maybe hold you up about $40, right? But we got to look back and think about this. This is kind of the last thing I want to say before we finish up this video, is the grand scheme picture, right? How is AMC stock doing right now? This thing over the last freaking one, let's just look at this on daily candles, right? This is gonna really paint the picture for you, right? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the last 10 days, this stock has gone from a low of $12 to a high of 72. Currently, as it is right now, we are up 12, 24, 36, 48, almost 400% in the last 10 days. Zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. And if you're a bag holder out there on AMC stock, you bought it somewhere above $47 in the $50, $55, $60, $65, $70 range. Maybe there's somebody out there who bought it at $72. If you are, let us know in the chat bar down below, the comment section. We'll lift your spirits, right? We're coming back for you. I'll tell you that right now. I don't think this is the end of the storybook. I think there's more on the table. And I'll tell you this right now. I'd rather die on my feet fighting for something I believe in than down on my knees. And that's what I've got for this freaking video. So blah, blah, blah. You know the whole spiel. Drop a like, consider subscribing. Whatever you want to do, my friends. Catch you on the next one. Much love and peace.